Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Adams, and I am coming to you from East Mount Zion with our social justice ministry. And I would like to introduce Miss Nina Turner.
Hi, Sister Adams. Great to be here with you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. I really appreciate it. I know how the election is coming up August 3rd, so time's running short, but I really appreciate you taking a moment to at least discuss with us your platform and to share some information with us about your campaign.
It's an honor to be here with you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Tell us a little bit about your history.
Yeah, so I'm a Cleveland girl through and through, born and raised here, graduated from John F. Kennedy High School. Hopefully there's some Eagles in East Mount Zion.
There's definitely some Eagles.
Good. And, I'm the oldest of 7 children. I got the benefit of growing up in this community because of my grandparents, like many Black families that of the, early 1900s, the Great Migration. The North was, places like Cleveland, Chicago, one of those places. And my grandparents came here and really had the opportunity to purchase a home in the Lee Harvard area. And at the time that they came and purchased a home, that was really a big deal to be in Lee Harvard for those who understand Cleveland's history. Yeah. But, my mom, oldest of 7 children, my parents got married and they also got divorced when I was really young. And so my mother was the custodial parent. And just, I come from a working poor family. So a lot of the struggles I'm not so far removed from my lived experience. And so that gives me a lot of my compassion, my passion, and my empathy for the poor, the working poor, and the barely middle class. I've certainly have throughout my life, I've been in situations where I've been food insecure, certainly been in positions in my life where my family was on public assistance. And then even as I was trying to make my way through, I was on public assistance for a little while. I'm first generation college graduate and graduated from Cuyahoga Community College and then 2 degrees from Cleveland State University, a bachelor's and a master's degree. I had the benefit of starting a PhD program. And then Sister Adams, I let politics kind of steer me off that course, but I hope one day to get back in there and finish that degree. First generation. So, my story, wife, mother, and now a new grandmother. I cannot believe I'm saying that I am a grandmother.
Congratulations.
I'm a yaya.
My mom is a yaya. Congratulations.
Yes. G-ma. You know how we do it now.
Right, grandma.
Yes. But you know what? Grandmothers are sacred, and especially those Southern grandmothers. And I think that the love for a grandmother, especially women who came directly from the South, is nothing like a good Southern woman. I was born in the North, so was my mother, but I have great reverence for my grandmother's generation and that generation that was born in the early 1900s. They just bring a certain different kind of je ne sais quoi to it all. And I had the opportunity to be I was a college professor at Cuyahoga Community College, city councilwoman, state senator, Democratic nominee in 2014 for Secretary of State, running to bump up against people who wanted to take away the right to vote. Unfortunately, they're back at it again. And I served twice in 2 presidential election cycles, side by side with Senator Bernie Sanders. The last election cycle, I was one of the national co-chairs for his campaign. I was a delegate twice for President Barack Obama. A lot of people don't know that, but in the trenches in 2008, where nobody believed in him. Yes. Sister Adams, I remember then Senator Obama walking through the door with somebody that is now a dear friend of mine, Senator 𝐅𝐿𝐹. Did not know him at the time, but they came to talk to some people in the city of Cleveland. I was fortunate to be one of those 10 or 15 people in the room. And I knew right then and there who I was going to support, and ended up not only supporting President Obama at that time, when nobody believed. See, it's different. The second time around was different than the first time around, right? You need folks believing in you on your way up, not when you get there. Right. But, really stood strong and not only supported him, but ran to become one of his delegates representing the 11th Congressional District. And then I did it again in 2012 when he really needed it the most, because if you remember that election cycle, they were trying to rob him of the opportunity to serve twice. Leader Mitch McConnell made it very clear he was going to try to make President Obama a one-term president. Thank God for all of us, not just Black people, but especially Black people, that was not the case. So I've had a plethora of experiences, both in the private sector too. I own my own company. And I'm just really running to lift up this district, to make this world a better place, to take everything that God has blessed me, every experience, even the experiences that were hard and harsh. I want to bring all of that to bear to really change the material conditions of the people who live, work, and play in this community.
So what really got you involved in politics?
Oh my God. You know, if I go that far back, you know what? I had the opportunity to start a student organization while I was at Cleveland State University with a dear friend of mine, Dr. Ronnie Dunn, and he's a professor there right now, called Students for Positive Action.
Okay.
And we were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and just thinking we could change the world. And it was really interaction with Councilwoman Fannie M. Lewis from the Huff area that really opened our eyes to activism. She was such a fierce advocate for her residents, and she didn't care what anybody had to say. You know, she wasn't rocking, wasn't about being a Democrat or none of that. It was about standing up. And I learned so much from her, even from a distance. And then I had the opportunity before she left this plane of existence to actually serve side by side with her, which is one of my highest honors in my political life. But just starting that organization and getting involved and getting people registered to vote. And little did I know, those moments were building me up for this kind of moment too. But that's it, just doing grassroots work in the community, even when I didn't really know, that I was an activist at that time.
Right.
I don't think if you had asked me back then that I consider myself an activist, I probably would have said no. But when I look back on it through today's lens, yeah, I was out there activating, trying to get people registered to vote.
Yes. Okay, so right now we have the congressional election, and I know that the primaries are August 3rd, and then we have the general election November 2nd. So yes, what everybody is going to want to ask you is why you? Why should we vote for Nina Turner?
For me, it's really about the people. And I believe that I should earn people's votes because I am standing in the ready position, as I have in every position I've ever had, to really change people's material conditions. And what do I mean by that? I believe that healthcare is a human right in the United States of America. Sister Adams, it should not be commodified. People should not get healthcare based on their job. They should get a healthcare based on being a human being. And every other industrialized nation has universal healthcare except for the United States of America. 1 million Ohioans lost their employer-sponsored healthcare during this pandemic, and the pandemic is still going on. We might not be masking up the way we did 2-3 months ago, but the pandemic is still real. People suffering is still real. I'm running because I believe that the minimum wage should be $15 an hour. That minimum wage has not increased for 12 years. Yet time and time again, we're reading articles about how the ultra wealthy are getting more wealthy, getting wealthier by the day, but poorer people are suffering by the day. And so we cannot stomach living in a society that has so much wealth, but is concentrated with so few people, while the great majority of us suffer to some degree because of this obscene, it's nothing wrong with being wealthy, but it's the obscene nature of it. We're celebrating billionaires who are gallivanting to space, but meanwhile, people are facing eviction. Some people don't have food on the table. Some people don't have a roof over their head. Our children have definitely suffered during this pandemic, have lost some academic ground. We should be focusing all of our attention to do what is right, to do what is just, and to do what is good on behalf of the greatest majority of people. So I am running to help to change that dynamic in this district, in this state, and also in this nation. And I want voters to know that my first, second, third, fourth, and fifth concern will be them, that I can work with anybody, but working with does not mean acquiescing to, that I do have the courage to ask for more.
Okay, I like it. So now we've definitely been receiving campaign mailers in the mail for the mayoral election and for the congressional election and everything. What do you say to anyone who is undecided?
That we have to collectively decide what kind of district we want to live in, what kind of nation we want to live in. And unfortunately, in this congressional race, dark money is coming in, dirty money. What I mean by dark money is that people can pour in millions of dollars and they don't have to identify who they are.
Yes.
And it's one thing to be in support of somebody. There's another thing to be anti somebody. And really bumping up against the status quo. There's only one candidate in this race that has invited that dark money in. And what that dark money is trying to do, when you talk about those melons, they're trying to disrupt the stasis in this district. I believe that the district should make the decision. Now, that doesn't mean that other people won't come in and endorse and support, but ultimately having millions of dollars pour in from dark money groups does a disservice to this district and also the democracy itself. that people should be able to make the decision. And so I'm asking people to look at my record, look at what I stand for, look at what I'm fighting for, and to make that decision based on that and not somebody's proximity to other people in power, whether it's me or anybody else. You know, there's scripture in our Christian tradition that says that you will know the tree by the fruit that it bears.
Okay. So talk to us a little bit about how faith plays into your political goals.
I was raised in a Black church, so Black liberation theology is in my bones. I couldn't shake it if I tried. And, you know, oftentimes when people ask me, how did you get that great speaking ability? Why did the Black church, you know, certainly as part of my gift set, you know, Patty can sing, Beyonce can sing, you know, folks can sing. Sister Turner can speak and preach. And I just, my gifts were definitely cultivated in the Black church experience. My mother, even though she's not alive, she died at the young age of 42 years old. She definitely made her children, her 7 children, go to church. You couldn't do anything in my mama's house unless you went to church. You couldn't go to the mall, couldn't make a phone call, you couldn't walk down the street. Right. If you can't go to church, you can't do anything. And I love that. At the time, I didn't appreciate it. Obviously, went to church 8 days a week. But looking back on my life and taking stock of some of my life experiences, I really appreciate that my mother really made it her business to make sure her children were in church. My mother was a preacher, and she had a homelessness ministry. I often tell stories of how, you know, we had food stamps growing up, and my mother would take a portion of those stamps and we would buy, you know, lunch meat and bread. And my mother would have us packing up sandwiches in little baggies with Capri Suns and a cookie or something to give out to the homeless, even though we didn't have a lot. Yeah. She made it her business to share what little we had. That's in me, that's through me, that's all around me. Yeah. And that is why I fight so hard for the least of these, our sisters and brothers.
When that's in your DNA, it's hard to avoid it as you get older, for sure. Those are the tenets of your foundation that spread throughout your life and your life's work.
Absolutely.
So tell us, if elected, how will you make sure that your voice is heard at the table? You know, there are a lot of women in politics, but never enough minorities for my money. So how do you make sure that you get to speak on behalf of our people when you're at the table?
Yeah, you are right. I mean, there's never been a Black woman governor in the history of the United States of America.
Don't get me started.
Right now.
Run now.
Go ahead, let's do it. And you know what? Right now, there's not a Black woman in the United States Senate. There's only been 2 in the history of this country. I'm just laying down. So we have lots of work to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we've come a mighty long way, but we have lots of work to do. So how am I make my voice heard? I am going to, you know, I've been endorsed by the largest caucus in the House of Representatives. That's the Congressional Black Caucus. I mean, excuse me, the Congressional Progressive Caucus. Okay. The Congressional Progressive Caucus is almost 100 members, and I've been endorsed by them. The reason why I bring them up, because I'm endorsed by local leaders too, like Mayor Frank Jackson, you know, and a lot of council people on the Cleveland City Council and suburban council members too. The most important endorsement is going to be that vote on August 3rd, and people who may be early voting, because early voting has started too, so people can early vote. But I am going to partner, because nobody, no matter how great they are, how sophisticated, how educated, you can't do great things by yourself. So I'm going to partner with other people who believe that the people of this nation deserve some relief, that they deserve uplift, that they deserve help, that they deserve good jobs, that they deserve health care, that we should cancel student debt. I'm going to partner with those people. And this won't be my first time doing it, Sister Adams. I have been partnering with these people over the last 6-7 years as I've traveled this country, fighting for the very issues that are part of my platform right now. I am going to have meetings right here at home, because nothing is as bad as losing connection with the people who put you there. You know, I know a lot of things, but I don't know everything. And so I'm going to continue to get the pulse of the people, as I did when I was a Cleveland City Councilwoman, as I did when I was a state senator. Half of this congressional district was my Senate district that I served in as a state senator from the great state of Ohio. And all pillars of society, businesses, faith-based, civic-based, the elected ministry, and everyday citizens, everybody has a role to play. And I'm going to make sure that all of those voices are heard, that I keep the pulse, so that I know what I should be pushing for and fighting for when I get to Congress.
And so to our young people who are interested in learning grassroots efforts or how to support your campaign, or just interested in developing a political career eventually, what advice would you have for them?
Start off with activism work. As I did, find a candidate or a cause that you believe in, volunteer. There's something powerful about volunteering. My first aide, the first person to help me in my council office was somebody who actually volunteered on the campaign, and then he became my legislative aide. And the reason he did all that work, now he wasn't doing that work thinking he was doing it out of the goodness of his heart. He was working a full-time job. He would leave that job and come and volunteer and just working. He was working in my office so tough. People thought he was my aide at the time, but your work speak for you. And that's what I want young people to do. You never know who's watching you. You don't never know who's listening. You never know what kind of opportunities will come your way because you're doing a good work.
Right.
So do a good work. And even when you're volunteer, do it like you're being paid. It is going to pay off, whether it turns into a job right in that moment, or whether down the line, you're going to learn some skill sets that you're going to be able to use. And then also your network is so important. Who can you pick up the phone to call? You got to expand that network. And that means meeting people. That means running in circles with people who have means, either educationally or wealth or connections, and build relationships. That is my best advice for young people, is to build relationships, steep yourself in those relationships. And you know what? The seeds that you are planting are going to bear fruit. I am a witness. I am a witness through my life. Just a young Black girl growing up in Cleveland. Can any good thing come out of Cleveland? The answer is
absolutely. And anything is possible. And for sure, just because in this conversation, in this space, young women, Black women for sure, are not taught that we are to pat ourselves on the back or how to speak for ourselves without it being, you're aggressive or you're too ambitious. Speak to young women and how we learn or how we should be trying to shape ourselves to be heard in a world that tells us that our voice should be silenced.
Thank you for that. You are never too ambitious. So I want to speak life into Black young ladies and Black girls, that you are more than enough, that you are, a writer said, to be young, to be Black, and to be gifted. And that many of our foremothers, and so some of them are still alive today, but the Black women who blazed the trail for us, the Daisy Bateses, who people really don't know as well as they know other of her contemporaries, the Sojourner Truths, the Harriet Tubmans, the Fannie M. Lewises from right here in Cleveland, the Fannie Hamers of the world, Sharecropper from Mississippi, the Mae Jemisons, the first Black woman that, astronaut to go into space. You are more than enough, and you were put here for a special purpose, and nobody can do what God purposed you to do. Dream big always. Pursue your goals and your dreams. Don't listen to the naysayers. Learn, have an open heart, open mind. There's always something we can learn. Even me at this stage of life, and I know Sister Adams, you would probably agree, every day I'm seeking to learn something that I did not know. But never let anybody tear you down for who God created you to be. You have a destiny that's bigger and broader than anything that the common man or woman can see. But God sees and God knows. Amen. And as long as you put some work behind that faith, the seeds you plant are going to bear fruit. I am a witness, coming from a working poor family, having my mother die at the young age of 42 years old when I was in my early 20s. Oldest of 7 children, first generation college graduate, kept taking those degrees and pushing forward for my mama's memory. We all gonna go through some stuff, but you can't have a testimony without a test. You are always enough. And don't let this world, this society, friends or frenemies tell you anything differently. You come from a great people.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you taking this opportunity to speak to us. Good luck in your election, and I hope we'll see you later on at the general election so we can get to vote for you, and we'll find out our results. August 3rd, when are they going to give us the results? Will it be same day, do you know?
It'll be same day. It's going to be, unfortunately, a low voter turnout because it is a special election, so we will probably know in a matter of an hour or so. who wins this race. And I want to encourage people, if they want to learn more about me other than this fantastic interview, so thank you, Sister Adams, for the opportunity, they can go to ninaturner.com. Again, that is ninaturner.com.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.